Picture this, a bustling city in ancient India. It's ruled by a prince who trusts only what his own two eyes can see. Now, imagine a calm, wise monk, a follower of the Buddha, who wanders into town with a totally different way of seeing the world. Well, these two are about to go head-to-head in a debate over one of the biggest questions there is. And trust me, the outcome is not what you'd expect.
So at the very center of this whole story is Prince Pāyāsi. And, he wasn't just some casual skeptic. He was a powerful ruler who believed only in what he could physically touch and measure. He was on a mission, really, to use logic and what he saw as solid scientific proof to just completely tear down the whole idea of an afterlife.
Now, Prince Pāyāsi, the ruler of a city called Setavya, held this belief that was so out there for his time that it sent shockwaves through his entire world. I mean, his hardcore materialism got everyone talking, from the monks in the forest to the people in the town square.
And what's really fascinating here is just how specific his view was. In the original Pali, it's called papakam ditti gatam, which means wrong view. But this wasn't just some vague disbelief. Oh no, it was a very clear three-part philosophy. So first, nati paro loco. There is no other world beyond this one, period. Second, nati satta opapatika. There are no beings that are just spontaneously reborn. No ghosts, no gods, none of that. And third, nati sukhata dukkhatanam kammanim phalam vipako. There is absolutely no cosmic consequence, no karma, for any good or bad things you do.
So this really sets the stage for an epic showdown, right? When this highly respected monk, Kumāra Kassapa, happens to visit a city, Pāyāsi sees his chance. He comes right out and says, "There's nothing beyond what we see," while Kumāra Kassapa holds the line, "Oh, there absolutely is." It's the classic clash, materialism versus a world of spirit.
But here's the thing about Pāyāsi. He wasn't just talking the talk. He really believed he had cold, hard evidence to back up everything he was saying. He'd actually conducted a series of what he thought were very clever experiments to prove, once and for all, that the whole idea of an afterlife was just a myth.
So Pāyāsi lays out his entire case to the monk with this air of total confidence, like a man who knows he has all the facts on his side. He explains how he made these deals with dying people. He told wrongdoers, "Hey, if you end up in hell, come back and tell me." He told virtuous people, "If you get to heaven, send word." But nothing, only silence. He even weighed criminals before and after their execution, hoping to measure the weight of a soul as it left the body. He dissected bodies, searching for the physical location of life itself. And his conclusion, it seemed inescapable. No one ever came back, he never found a physical soul, so no afterlife.
Okay, so how in the world did you argue with that? It seems like pretty solid, if grim, evidence. Well, Kumāra Kassapa doesn't even try to fight fire with fire. He doesn't offer counter-experiments or his own data. Instead, he uses the power of a good story. Through a series of just brilliant parables, he completely reframes Pāyāsi's questions and shows him the hidden flaws in his own logic.
Let's start with Pāyāsi's biggest piece of evidence, the one he's most proud of. He's genuinely confused. I mean, his virtuous friends, they were good people. They gave their word. They promised they'd come back from heaven and give him a report, but they never did. For Pāyāsi, this is case closed. But for the monk, well, he just calmly offers a totally different way of looking at it. He begins with this incredible story called the Guha Kupa Pariso Pama, which is the parable of the man in the cesspit. And it's a story so vivid, so, gross, and so unexpected that it's designed to just completely shatter Pāyāsi's rigid worldview and make him see reality in a whole new light. The monk says, just imagine this. There's a man, and he's trapped, miserable, head deep in a disgusting, foul-smelling cesspit. Then suddenly he's rescued. He's pulled out, he's scrubbed clean with fragrant powders, bathed in scented water, and perfumed with the most amazing oils. Then he's dressed in the finest silks, covered in glittering jewels, and taken to the top floor of a magnificent palace, where every single pleasure you can imagine is waiting for him. And here comes the brilliant twist. The monk looks at Pāyāsi and asks, would that man, now living in the height of luxury, would he ever even dream of diving back into that disgusting cesspit? And Pāyāsi has to admit, well, of course not. Exactly, the monk says. To the gods living in heavenly realms, the human world, with all its sickness and struggle and decay, is like that cesspit. The very smell of humanity is foul to them. Why on earth would they ever choose to come back even for a moment? Now Pāyāsi is clearly impressed by this,
But he's not about to give up that easily. He's still got another ace up his sleeve, his experiment with weighing bodies. He argues, look, if a soul is a physical thing that leaves the body at death, then the corpse should be lighter, right? But his experiments prove the opposite. A dead body is heavier and stiffer. So, where'd the soul go?
Kumāra Kassapa is ready. He pulls out another brilliant analogy, the Suntatayo Golupama, or the parable of the hot iron ball. He asks a really simple question. Which is lighter, softer, and easier to work with, a glowing, red-hot iron ball right out of the forge, or a cold, dead one?
And Pāyāsi has to agree. The hot iron ball is lighter and more workable because it's filled with heat and air. And then the monk just masterfully connects this to the human body. A living body, he explains, is imbued with life force, or ayu, heat, or usma, and consciousness, or vijnana. It's this living energy that makes the body feel lighter and more flexible. A corpse is heavier not because some physical soul is still trapped inside, but because these vital energies are gone. Pāyāsi had made a huge mistake. He was trying to weigh an energy, not an object.
So with every experiment Pāyāsi throws out there, Kumāra Kassapa comes back with a simple but incredibly deep parable that just dismantles the prince's rigid logic. And the undeniable force of this wisdom, delivered so gently, it starts to chip away at the very foundations of Pāyāsi's certainty.
And then it happens. The prince's intellectual fortress just crumbles. He makes this incredible admission. He says he was actually convinced after the very first parable, but he was so fascinated by the monk's wisdom that he kept arguing just to hear more of his answers. Humbled and completely transformed, he formally declares his faith and takes refuge in the teachings of the Buddha.
But hold on, Pāyāsi's journey is far from over. His intellectual conversion is really just the beginning. Now he has to figure out how to put his newfound faith into practice, and that leads to a final and maybe the most important lesson of the whole story. So, filled with this new religious energy, Pāyāsi immediately sets up a program for giving alms to the poor and to holy men. But there's a catch. He gives them the cheapest, roughest food and the most uncomfortable cloth, basically stuff he would never ever use himself. He gives without care, without respect, or asakachum, as the ancient text puts it. He's doing the right thing, but his heart just isn't in it.
And now we get the final, incredible twist of the story. After Pāyāsi dies, he is in fact reborn in a heavenly world just as the monk predicted. But his heaven is a lonely one, an empty, isolated celestial mansion, a sunyam sarisakam vimanam. But get this, his young attendant Uttara, the one who actually managed the almsgiving with genuine care and respect, he is reborn in the magnificent heaven of the 33, a place of just unimaginable joy and company.
And this is the ultimate lesson of the entire story. Our actions aren't just simple transactions. The universe doesn't just check a box that says, yep, gave alms. It weighs the quality of the act, the respect, the care, the real intention behind it. Pāyāsi's half-hearted giving got him a lonely heaven, while Uttara's sincere respect and service earned him a place among the gods.
Pāyāsi's whole journey began with this rigid belief in only what he could measure and see. He had to learn that some of the deepest truths in life require a totally different set of tools, things like analogy, wisdom, and just an open mind. And that leaves us with a question for ourselves, doesn't it? What limits are we putting on our own understanding by only trusting the most obvious ways of measuring the world? What incredible truths might be waiting for us just beyond the edge of what our eyes can see?